We getting it again? Snow apocalypse? I hope not. We're trying to do something for Ollie's birthday this weekend. Just eating out at a Mexican restaurant, but still. So if you're street racing, okay, if you're street racing another car and you lose and that you decide to do double or nothing, right? So you're going to rematch another race, double what you betted, what you bet the first time. So let's say we bet 1,000. You already lost 1,000. So now you do double or nothing, which means you'll either be even if you win, or if you lose, you owe them 2,000. Same cars, rematch, but they changed the driver of the car. Does that negate the rematch? That's how I used to advertise myself to the ladies. On a good day, at least 4 inches. I don't think it matters. I think car, who cares about the drivers? But there's a big debate on TikTok right now. It doesn't matter, though. Like, you don't drive the same every time you drive your car, right? You might get a good start. You might get a bad start. You might miss a gear. It's car versus car is what the race is supposed to be. I don't know what insanity means. It says drag race. Let me start up Facebook. I hate that there's like this pause where I have to start fucking Facebook and shit, but back, Facebook starting. Now I gotta refresh it like 50 times. I mean, I think all people that are willing to drag race are going to push the car as hard as they can physically. It's an eighth mile. I don't know that if you're more life risking that you're going to somehow make the car go faster or slower. Hold on. There is a big debate about it right now, though. On TikTok, there's like this, it looks like a black race team and a Mexican race team. Maybe I'm just super racist, but that's what it looks like. And they're arguing. The guy lost, and he's like, no, it's not a rematch. It's not a rematch if you rotate out drivers. It's not a rematch. And the other guy's like, car versus car, right? Who cares who's driving? You called out the car beat your car. Now you're mad about it. I don't know. At least 4 inches. That was my nickname in high school. Here we go. Roll the intro.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is?
What?
Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. We shouldn't lose internet. The camera shouldn't go out. I'm not connected to for some reason, when I connect through one of my VPNs, after a while, it just goes dead. Like I lose signal, and I guess it reconnects somewhere else. I don't fucking know. Unicoi County girls softball are favored to win state, mainly because of their pitcher. We have Unicoi County. I don't know how much you know about the high schools locally. Unicoi County has a really good baseball program. Baseball and softball. So it used to just be baseball, and we've got like fucking 12 state championships in baseball. And then our baseball coach, who's like in the Tennessee Hall of Fame, he went to the softball program when my sister was there. And at the softball program, he won a couple state championships like back to back. They're really good programs. I'm not saying they're going to win state like every year, but they're good programs. Yes, Coach Baxter. My mamaw, which is what I call my grandma, my mamaw had a son. Every son that she had played baseball in Unicoi County, and every son that she had a state championship ring. She had 7 boys and 7 girls, so she had 7 state champions in her family. And one of them went on to play in the minor leagues. The rest of them did a bunch of drugs. So there you go. She's featured in some type of book about Irwin baseball history or whatever. My mama's got some quotes in it. I used to have a copy of the book. I mean, I still do. I just don't know where the fuck it's at. Anyways, what's happening? What's up? Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. Stuff going on all over the place. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen next? It does seem the administration is backing. I've seen videos of like a fucking goddamn, like a convoy of ICE agents leaving fucking Minneapolis, which is good. Protesting does work. Fucking murdering people doesn't. That's pretty fucked up. Still fucked up. Still think it's fucked up. I saw a good quote today, or I guess a comment today. Someone said, someone was making the argument. I understand the argument is, the actual argument is the police have to believe, right? They have to have a reasonable belief that they're going to die or be horribly injured or another police officer is, right? They weren't making that argument. In the comments, they were making the argument that there was this event that was going to take place, event happening where they could have lost their lives or been wounded, mortally wounded or whatever. Someone said, okay, what was that event? Let's say they didn't shoot Alex Preddy. What was the event that was going to happen? Let's say we freeze time right when the first gunshot went off. The very first gunshot went off. We freeze time right there. The gunshot didn't happen. Who would have been wounded? Who would have been killed? That's a good question to ask, because the answer is no one. He didn't even have a gun at that point, right? They'd already disarmed him. So I saw that in the comments. I thought, yeah, that's a good way to phrase it when they're like, oh, he was trying to kill him. Or elder millennials saying, oh, he popped off a round. He drew a gun on federal agents, then popped off a round. What the fuck is wrong with people? Let's dive into some videos. This is a pretty base call out on Alex Jones. You guys know I like Promania. Oh,
Alex
hold on.
fucking Jones has spent the last... Alex Jones made sure he posted that he supports ICE. Alex fucking Jones has spent the last 2 decades making millions of dollars selling bone broth to people with his fucking promo codes while telling them that an elite cabal of pedophiles were going to send mass jackbooted thugs into their neighborhoods to steal children. Well, here we are, Alex Jones. We got an elite cabal of pedophiles that are sending jackbooted mass thugs into our fucking neighborhoods that are literally stealing children and shooting moms and nurses in the fucking face. And your first words are, I support them completely. I'm completely on board. This is where I'm going to be. You're a fucking coward, Alex Jones. I can't wait for the HGH to finally break off that last little piece of fucking cartilage and make it up to your brain to do the fucking thing that the ghosts of all those kids at fucking Sandy Hook are waiting for you. Because when you get down there, I want to just real fast. I'm getting revved now. I did in 2012. I was an atheist who believed in gun control. Well, guess what, Republicans? You did it. I now believe in God, and I now believe heavily in the Second Amendment.
You should have known it was Josh. You think fucking Eli's going to show up here, dude? You think Eli's going to show up here?
Motherfucker, because I need to believe in hell, because I am not seeing justice here. We are not seeing it right now. We're not seeing a lot of fucking things in the street. Alex Jones.
Damn. Very base call out. Very based call out. Heinous. Eli's fucking heinous for showing up here. I want to show you somebody I've been arguing with today. If I can find them. What was her name? Linda M. Griffin. No, that might not be the one. That's not the right one. My bad. False alarm. Go back to being Linda M. Griffin. Then where the fuck is it? Hold on just a second. I don't think that's all my notifications. Unless they deleted the post and it's gone now. I hate these fucking save the kids fucking losers. Like, not that I don't want to protect children, obviously, but these fucking losers, dude. They're like, oh, look at this scary picture of a tunnel. Did they delete it? Assholes. They think that Trump is sending ICE to Minneapolis to save kids underneath the tunnel. Somehow they made me an admin on this page, which isn't great. I think they did delete it. Hold on. That's not it. That's not it. I'm kind of freaking out. You have to give me a second. I'll show you the picture they posted. I know I can find it. It was a Reddit post that basically it was like a sewer tunnel, and it had a swing, like a porch swing in it. And then on the porch swing was like a stuffed animal that looked like a fucking, I don't know, it looked like a fucking unicorn or a bear or something sitting in it. And they're like, you don't even know what's really going on. And I posted, you people are so dumb. And that was enough to start dragging them out. I think they have deleted it, though. Oh, I know how I can find it. Give me just a second. I'll just go to my comments and my activity. They deleted the post. Well. Yeah, it won't let me view it. It won't let me do anything but delete it. Anyways, let me find this photo. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they're like so hard on. Like anybody can take, like what I was trying to explain to the lady is like anybody can take a photo and be like, this is the sewers underneath Minneapolis. Like, okay. We can even AI generate photos. Like it's a swing in a tunnel. What does this prove? What does this do for anybody? I don't get where they're coming from. I've also been trying to convince them not to pay their taxes. But it's like you don't even know what's actually going on in Minneapolis while they're murdering US citizens. They think that it's some type of ruse to rescue tunnel babies. That's how they justify this shit in their head. With no evidence whatsoever. Just like the lady was like, you're gonna wake up one day and guess what? You're gonna think, boy, was I dumb. And it's not even a picture of a kid. It's a picture of a swing. It looks like someone honestly set it up and put it on Reddit for like r/spooky things or whatever to like get likes, right? It's a picture. It's a fucking concrete tunnel, and there's like a porch swing in it, and the porch swing's hung up, and there's like a stuffed unicorn sitting there, and they're like, you don't even know what's really going on. Like if they put half of that anger or half of that passion or whatever to saving these imaginary kids into like, hey, let's protect our fucking rights. Let's not have a masked agents running around just trampling on them. You know, even if you don't want to do the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, what about the Fourth Amendment where they're fucking using administrative warrants to just kick in doors? You know, how about that one? No, none of that. We're saving imaginary tunnel babies. Like, what the fuck is going on? And on top of that, they don't give a fuck about all the shit the administration's doing, like, you know, committing treason with Canada. Have you guys heard about this?
We have some major news right now that not enough people are talking about. The Trump administration is actively running a Russia-Ukraine playbook right now in Canada, openly supporting and helping a group of Alberta separatists trying to secede from Canada. This is one of the craziest stories you'll know about, and let's talk about it.
Imagine we found Mexico was getting American citizens that have Mexican heritage. We were aiding them and the president of Mexico was having conversations with separatists that had Mexican heritage, the same way Russia did when they kicked off the Donbass, right? And the president and their fucking admin were meeting with them and potentially funding them to separate from the United States and become Mexico again. This is the same thing that Russia did when they put the Wagner group in the Donbass and then claimed, oh, those people are really Russian and they really want to leave. And they just kept flooding it with Russian people. That's what the Trump administration is doing in fucking Canada.
Because just now, the British Columbia premier came.
And I'm not talking about like some MAGA Twitter guy that's kind of halfway related to Trump. I'm talking about like Scott Bessent.
And said that it amounts to an act of treason. So there's a group of separatists in the province of Alberta. They're trying to make Alberta an independent country, to completely secede from Canada. And to do it, they are meeting with Trump administration officials and openly asking for a $500 billion line of credit from the Trump administration.
Where does the $500 billion come from? Who pays that? Is that some of the money that Doge didn't find, or?
A line of credit that would be funded by you, the taxpayer, to help fund their new country of Alberta. And it's gotten so...
I'm from Alberta, Canada, born and raised. That's where I get this accent from. And I'm sad about this.
So bad that these Alberta separatists have now openly met with the Trump administration. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, openly champions Alberta separating from Canada. And the British Columbia Premier is saying, well, that meeting with the Trump administration is tantamount to treason. If this reminds you of anything, it's exactly what Putin...
If the Trump administration found people in fucking North Carolina, coastal North Carolina, that were talking to fucking the UK about becoming an independent nation and found out that England was going to fund it, they would hang those people.
Did with the Donbass region in Ukraine, openly supporting them seceding from Ukraine. Pretty crazy stuff happening right now with U.S. and Canada. Spread the word. Follow for more. We have some major news right now
That's pretty fucking insane, dude, right? Like the actual administration meeting with separatists in a foreign nation, an ally nation. What? Those Epstein files must be fucking lit, bro. Fucking lit. They'll do anything to do it. While they're on top of that, they're feeding classified data into the public version of Chat GPT. How does public AI learn things? When you go to Chat GPT, how does it learn things? There's like a base model that they turned loose on the internet to just pull in data, right? There's training data. They give it sets of training data over and over and over again. But how does it keep getting better? How does it keep getting... Every time someone uses AI, it keeps getting better. And why is that? Because it trains on the data that you feed to it. So if you spend your time trying to teach AI something, when in actuality it's teaching you, like you're asking it questions and it's teaching you, like say you ask it about the fucking solar system. All it's doing is pouring more data, more recent data, and it's feeding it back to you. And the entire time it's storing it. So when we feed it classified data, there's a chance that anybody can now go to ChatGPT and ask about that classified data, and it's going to spit it back the fuck out. It's just going to spit it back the fuck, like, hey, what are we doing classified in Venezuela? And they've already uploaded the documents. It's going to say, well, from these classified reports, here's what we're doing in Venezuela. Remember when Trump was on the campaign trail and he was talking about, and Kristi Noem, all these quotes about classified data and how no one gets away with it and how these people are going to prison and he would never let this happen on his watch and blah, 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 over and over and over again. Now they're just feeding it into ChatGPT.
Of the U.S. cybersecurity team has just uploaded sensitive government documents to the public version of Chat
By the way, he had to bypass like 10 warning screens to do this.
GPT. That is a sentence I never thought I would say. And can we make this make sense? Because when you sign up for ChatGPT, it straight up says that you shouldn't be doing that. And you're the head of the U.S. cybersecurity team? If you don't know, according to Politico, the acting director of the CISA, or the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, uploaded contracting files marked, quote, for official use only into the public version of ChatGPT. Those uploads reportedly triggered multiple automated security warnings saying, hey, top secret doc.
Multiple automated security warnings.
Documents have been uploaded to a public system. This person, of course, was appointed by Donald Trump, and let's remember that CISA is technically banned from using it, but this guy had special privileges to be able to use it. So why is this such a big deal?
So the reason that CISA is banned from using it on their work phones, work computers, whatever, is because it learns, right? They don't want inadvertently. The only person that has special privilege to use it is literally the head, right? Because they thought, you got to be smarter than the average person working here. Nope.
ChatGPT uses the information put inside of it to train the model, which means that some of this information could resurface in other searches, whether it be in the United States or other people. A full investigation is now underway, and I'll be sure to keep you updated. The acting head of the U.S.
Also, Trump asked Putin to not strike Ukraine this week because it's super cold. He told reporters, you think it's cold here? Add 30%. Add 30% cold.
So this is actually happening.
I personally asked President Putin not to fire into Kiev and the various towns for a week, and he agreed to do that.
And we know that this is happening because of the Russian Telegram channels that are disappointed from the new announcement stating they cannot strike these targets. This is coming from the Russian military blogger Romanov Light that actually put a screen grab of the statement. First, it says up here on January 28th at the highest command level, a document was received containing among things the following, and this is the statement here. It states here, exclude strikes on targets within the city of Kyiv and Kyiv Oblast as well across the entire territory of Ukraine on energy and energy infrastructure facility, power plants, thermal plants, etc., starting on January 28th until further notice. The Russians, they're not happy about this, with one of them saying above, unfortunately it's true, angry that they cannot strike Ukraine, and then the messages down below, which pretty much state, hello, can you imagine? They ban delivering fire strikes against any targets in Kyiv and Kyiv Oblast, as well as any infrastructure facility all across Ukraine? This has to be some kind of nonsense. I have no words. Fucking traitors. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. I still can't believe it. So this is actually...
It's cold, right? You know, take our cold, add 30%. That's how cold it is there. Actually, I want to do the, what's the guy's name? The guy that does the, I'll look it up. The guy that does, I'll watch Trump's speech so you don't have to. That guy. You know what I'm talking about? I can never remember his username, but I've got it here somewhere. He's a lot easier to watch than Trump is, for sure. By the way, you guys got your new electric bills after Trump cut electric in half on January 20th? Or no? I haven't been issued my new bill yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Right in half. Oh, let's check on this guy, by the way. While I'm looking at this other video, check out this guy. Bort? Yes, Bort. We love Bort. Mini Bort.
My evil liberal Democrats taught me.
Let's see if he's got any updates for us.
Check this out.
Oh, so I don't know why you have this weird red filter on it, but that's not a gun.
What we got here is a man holding something that appears to be a gun. Maybe
it's not. You can just watch it without the red filter, and you don't even have to slow it down. It's not.
Gun off of him. He reached around and grabbed this object out of his waist.
This was after he'd been shot, the way his hands react. Like, his right arm goes. I'm not going to watch this over and over again. This is like...
Let me show you the end
snuff
result
films.
When a liberal Democrat kamikaze pilot listens to the liberal Democrat leadership once they've pumped a bunch of bullshit propaganda into their skulls.
Okay.
This.
These protesters asking ICE to shoot them in the face. All right, let's get to this message I have for the men who...
You call us a cult.
This guy reminds me of Eli.
You people are a bunch of fucking fanatics. A bunch of rabid dogs. But you're gonna implode on yourselves. You're gonna thin out the herd yourselves. See you at the midterms, girlfriend. Let me show you the end result when liberal. Let me show you.
What is with the red, dude?
Liberal Democrat.
Red room of Trump pain?
Pate is treating innocent people that live in Minneapolis.
Oh, look, no ice. Nothing on me. You prove it. I don't know what it is. Let me see your IDs of where you live.
No, they've been following us. That's why we got out and confronted them.
Great. Oh, I have more to show you of examples.
Yeah, like asking who those people are when they look like they're military. They're not there for the protest. They're just there filming people. Yeah, I can understand asking those people who they are.
But let's kind of circle back on what's taking place. This is just one of the groups. It's called Migra Watch. What is it exactly? Well, it was something adapted from Cop Watch, which essentially...
Let me show you the liberal Democrat kamikaze pilots, a pack of rabid dogs, how they're treating innocent Minnesotians.
Didn't we just watch this one?
Let's see. We got Charlie Kirk that gets shot in the neck and gets killed. We got Rittenhouse, who's...
Charlie Kirk's shooter was arrested. If you name any of the people killed by migrants, their killers were arrested. You're calling for this guy's killer to be celebrated.
Attacked by a crowd, and one of them tries to beat him to death with a skateboard and gets shot. We got Miss Good, who slams a car into an agent's body and gets herself killed. We got another guy just recently who went to a protest with a pistol, got in a scuffle with ICE, and ended up getting himself shot. Do you see the theme here?
No.
What's going on? And you got the Liberal Democrat Party pumping up their puppets and sending the Liberal Democrat kamikaze pilots into the storm and getting them killed.
I recognize the pattern in your teeth. It's tooth, 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 nothing. Tooth, 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 tooth.
Their own
Oh, no. Oh, no. Dad sure is taking the divorce well. Do I have to go to Dad's house this weekend? He keeps making TikToks. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Did you know that illegal immigrants last year in America paid over $26 billion into the Social Security system? That's right, illegal immigrants. You see, 6 out of every 10 people who are here illegally are paying taxes because they're working, and many of them have families.
So what we got here is another liberal Democrat mouthpiece pushing bullshit.
So you remember when I hate Jesus? Thank you. You remember when Elon Musk stood up on the stage and said that millions of immigrants had Social Security numbers, and he tried to say that that allowed them to vote? Well, that was them paying into Social Security. They weren't voting.
Propaganda onto the American people. You can do an easy Google search, and it will tell you that illegals cannot have a Social Security, and if they do,
not illegals, immigrants. Yes.
Then they scanned somebody for it. Now, if you're an approved non-citizen to work,
yes, those would be the people that they paid in millions of dollars into Social Security, and they'll never draw from it unless they become citizens. And then still they have to do their 10 good years or whatever.
U.S., you can get a Social Security.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out for us.
So here's my thing on the man.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, he's not wearing a shirt. I thought he had a fucking wool sweater on. Look at this.
So here's my...
What is this? What is this curvature? Flat earthers claim they can't see the curve. Look at this. It almost looks like, you know, you cut a branch off a tree and then another branch pops up in its place, but it always has that knot. Ooh, first comment. First fucking comment. He does have those Scott Wadjo's genetics. I will agree with that. What is this lump?
Thing on the man getting shot. Until all the body cams come in.
Dude, Dad is not taking the divorce well. Like, Jesus Christ, all this red, and he's walking around shirtless with a fedora on. nobody's coming to visit him for the holidays. They'll send a text.
And all the other camera footage comes in. Let's not forget about, I don't hear anybody talking about, they were surrounded by multiple businesses that have cameras on the front of them, filming everything. So until all that stuff comes in, and they go through that and do their investigation.
Wait, you already did. I just saw. Now, none of those stores have released camera footage, as far as I know. I've looked everywhere on the internet for it. And I just saw a video of yours 3 videos away where you declared that he drew something that looked like a weapon and that's why he got shot. So you're going to say that we can't make any judgment calls until we get all the footage, or are you going to say that you just made a judgment call?
Then the truth's going to come out. Beyond that, everything else is speculation. And
oh, okay.
Myself included.
About what I figured.
I jumped the gun too. So the liberal Democrat says the Republicans.
God damn! Look at all that hamburger meat, buddy.
And they're stupid. But guess what? We went to the ballot box.
Do you guys know who? Do you guys know who Nick Hibbets is? God damn, he makes some funny videos. Hold on, I send them to Mariah all the time because she hates them. That's what it reminds me of when I'm looking at these sexy motherfuckers. I can't even hold a candle to them. Look at them. Coming out here with all this fucking chest bling on. Just hairy men.
I don't think I've ever heard of
Got a deer.
I don't think I've ever heard of
He makes some funny innuendo videos. Some good ones. Let's see. I'll try to find you a good one. I don't know because the thumbnails are never very good. Fuck it. Let's start at the top. Maybe. Why do I have no volume? Okay. There it goes.
Oh, homemade orange juice, huh? Count me in. Yummy. Oh.
Nick Hibbets is funny.
All right.
Oh, fuck. Get in there.
What is fucking going on with Facebook? Facebook fucking blows, dude. What is happening?
I've never seen that.
Surely he's on TikTok. Hold on. Is it TS or ET? Oh, there it is. I think that's him, right? Yes. Let's check out his pin videos.
Oh, shit.
Damn it, I can't play the music, but...
10 out of 10, papi.
Damn, little mama, let me see the maze. Cheeks jiggle. No, okay. Are you freaking kidding me right now, dude? What do we got here? What do we... Oh, Jesus, my heart is beating so fast right now. Okay, just do it. Just do it. Just... People are talking. What is wrong with you people?
I like it when he says, he'll say something like, oh, all of a sudden Big Poppy wants to be a little catfish. Like shit like that. He's like,
Okay, the other day. It was just this. I'll show you. Right there.
oh, people took his photo and edited it. It's pretty
Men
funny.
will literally stick their whole face in your ass, but be scared to open up about their feelings.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct. I don't... What's going on? I don't know what the... Is there a debate? Is this a debate or something? I don't know. What's the issue? I don't know what the issue is with that.
What do we got going on here? Oh, shit.
Now, if you don't know who this guy is, you're in for a treat. This guy makes some of the yummiest dishes. They are out of this world. Now, if you don't know,
make him a way down.
I've been a bad churro puppy.
you guys know the song that goes, "She's from Texas, I can tell by the way." I mean, what is the hype behind that song, you know? My opinion, it kind of sucks. I don't even really like it. And in fact, I think it's ranked one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. You know, I just don't get it. Why anybody would believe in the hype.
She's from Texas, I can tell.
This is a video for the homies. So if you're not a homie and you're a girl, keep on scrolling. I'll wait.
No mas papi.
They gone? It's just us? All right, cool. What's up, dude? I just wanted to say, hey, you know, it's your boy, but I hope you're doing well. You know, I hope you're succeeding. I hope you're doing well mentally, physically, and I love you. And I just wanted to let you know that I miss you. I miss your fist pounds, man. Right? I miss your daps. When you dap me up, bring me in and hold me tight. I miss your hot breath on the nape of my neck when we hug. I miss your cute little giggle when I tickle your floating rib on your right side. You'd go, shit was cute.
Uh-oh.
I miss those times when you'd eat a hot dog and not break eye contact with me. You know what I'm talking about. I miss those times when we go to French kiss each other on the cheeks, of course, and we land on each other's wet, pursed lips on accident. I miss you. I fucking miss you, dude. This is...
He misses his friend.
All right, man. What? What the hell? You know? Why? Why are you doing that? Why are they that big, friend? You know, usually I'm all right. I'm all, oh my God, let me get that. Or I'm all, damn, right? But not this time, pal. That is not okay. It's not okay. Ugh, fuck.
What is that? It looks like fucking JD Delay or whatever. God damn, dude.
This here, when you breathe in oxygen, what do you breathe out?
Some long ass fucking nips, bro. She just eat baby powder? What the fuck? Hold on.
This here, when you breathe in oxygen, what do you breathe out?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hey, I say uh-oh because ma'am in the back. Excuse me. Did you just eat a handful of baby powder? You did. Okay.
That's how you get ovarian cancer, I think.
Do that, right? We put that on babies' butts and such, okay? We don't put it into our hand and eat it, right? Because that'll give us a little tummy ache.
Do people do that? There's people in the comments saying there's tons of people who do this. They're like addicted to it. They do it all the time. What?
Right? It's going to hurt our little tum-tums.
Do people do that? His faces, dude. He's pretty funny.
I'm losing track of days, losing sleep at night. I am not okay.
Have you ever had 22 inches of meat in your mouth?
What? She said you ever have 22 inches of meat in your mouth? Not me. That'd be crazy, though. 22 inches of meat in your gosh dang mouth? Could you imagine? So much meat in my mouth. 22 inches of meat. Just joking. That's crazy. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard.
That's for almost getting us killed.
Uh-oh.
All right, I was sent this. I fill a cap full of milk, huh? Oh, what a stop, brother. That guy deserves an award of some sort. All right, I was sent this. DJ Douglas tweets it.
No la poo-poo.
I hope everybody's...
Ooh, what was that? What is that? That was Shaft, right?
Okay. All right. Is that what I think it is? Is that the body part that I think it's on?
All right, we can stop watching it now. Facebook sucks. Everything sucks. We're back at it. Let's go. Did you guys see ICE raid the consulate? Or try to raid a Ecuadorian consulate? The place behind the local Ecuadorian consulate is where I go for the Portuguese snowblowers. But I've never been in the Ecuadorian consulate. Portuguese snowblower.
This is the girl from Ecuador. Relax. Okay, relax. I did not enter. And if you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. Okay. You can go then. Okay, but don't touch me. Yep. Okay. You can go then. You can go then too. All right, here we go. You can go then too. This is the consulate. This is the foreign sovereign republic. You can go then too. All right. I'm going to close the door. Bye. Yeah. Over there. All right. Yeah.
It's fucking insane. They even thought they had the rights to enter a consulate. At least somebody fucking stood up to them. They weren't planning on fucking stopping and asking if they were allowed.
This is the girl from Ecuador. Relax. Okay, relax. I did not enter. And if you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. Okay. You can go then.
Yeah, it's when you put a little cocaine on your partner's butthole, right? Then you get down in there and get a face full and she farts a little bit. So you get both, right? Get a little excited to eat that ass. Portuguese snowblower.
If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. Okay. You can go then. Okay, but don't touch me. Yep. Okay. You can go then. You can go then too. All right, here we go. You can go then too. This is the consulate. This is the foreign sovereign republic. You can go then too. All right. I'm going to close the door. Bye. Yeah. Over there. All right. Yeah.
It's like fucking. It's like $20 from a lady of the night, a working woman. You know what I mean? It's not bad either. It's the fucking size of a key bump, right? I go in there with an 8-ball and $200 goddamn dollars. Be there all night. So let's do this. Not bad. Here's the line of trucks I was telling you about.
These are all the ICE vehicles leaving, y'all.
Someone said ICE might stay on military bases. I'm not sure what the technicality is and legality around civilian police force staying on a military base, but it might calm some of the protests and violence and shit that happens around the hotels.
Look at all the ICE vehicles leaving. They're dropping tear gas canisters. They're dropping flat.
We're still fucking smoking and fucking gassing people on the way out.
This motherfucker right here. Wow.
That's right. Back to their Proud Boy meetings.
These are all the ICE vehicles leaving, y'all.
I swear that's why there's no counter protest. You know, if this shit was going on, the Proud Boys would be up there trying to protect ICE, right? If they weren't already ICE. 100% that's who it is. That's who they've been hiring. Dude, they would show up in like 30 minutes back during 2020 when something popped off in fucking Washington or Oregon or some shit. They're all over the goddamn place. Traveled from fucking North Carolina and South Carolina and fucking flew in overnight.
Look at all the ICE vehicles leaving. They're dropping tear gas canisters. They're dropping flat. Look at this motherfucker right here. Wow. These are all the ICE vehicles leaving, y'all.
This is who we were looking for. Let's discuss something. Okay. Let's do Trump's speech. Trump's most recent speech. We can just start here. Hold on.
I watched Trump's cabinet meeting today, so you don't have to, and here's my overview. They spoke for about 80 minutes. Trump
admitted to sleeping in the last cabinet meeting. You guys know the last cabinet meeting that they had where they did the big round table. They're all sitting at the table, and they all go around and talk about how Trump saved billions of Americans over and over again. By the time they're done, it's like fucking 100x the population of the world, and they're like, thank you, Mr. President. He admitted he fell asleep in the last one. I'm not making up the Portuguese snowblower. It's a sexual maneuver performed by two subjects. The first subject places themselves on the bed with the face, hands, and knees down, but buttocks high in the air. The second subject places a small amount of cocaine on the sphincter of the first subject. The first subject then attempts to fart while the second subject is inhaling the aforementioned cocaine. They won't do it at regular massage parlors, okay? You got to find the special ones. There's an app on your phone called Rug Maps. Rug Maps, Rugmaps, Rug Maps. And it'll tell you in the reviews the ones that do the special events, okay? Anyways, he admitted that he slept in the last fucking cabinet meeting. He says that he's going to keep this one shorter so it doesn't happen again.
Biden 5 times and Obama twice, and other people mentioned Biden and Obama, and we'll get to that when we speak about their notes. Trump says that Americans are going to be able to travel to Venezuela again soon, and the airspace over Venezuela is going to be open by end of day. He also says that our growth rate would have been 7% without a Democrat shutdown, which is a number that no one's ever heard of. There are plenty of countries that grow faster than that every single year. And then he said that yesterday he was in Iowa. That was 2 days ago. Here's a direct quote. He says, rent prices are coming down very fast. I'd like to see any proof of that. He also says that the big...
If you have any hope of him lowering housing prices, he says like 5 times he wants to keep housing prices high.
Big Beautiful Bill is the Republican version of the New Deal. He talks about how he went to a Ford factory a couple weeks ago and that factory was built pre-World War I. I looked it up. He went to the Rogue factory in Detroit. That was finished in 1928. He knows nothing about history. I don't know exactly how to fact check this, but he says that last year for the first time we produced more steel than Japan, which sounds like an accomplishment except for the fact that China produces more steel than the rest of the world combined, and then it's India, and then it's Japan.
So surpassing Japan may be a slightly big deal, but it's not like passing China, right?
Steel than Japan, which sounds like an accomplishment except for the fact that China produces more steel than the rest of the world combined, and then it's India, and then it's Japan. To put it in perspective, China makes 1 billion tons of steel each year, and in 2024 we made 80 million tons of steel.
China makes I heard there's some issues going on Japan. China makes 1 billion tons. We make 80 million a year. We're not even fucking close.
Trump will also admit that he was falling asleep during the last cabinet meeting, but says that that's just because it was boring and lasted 3 hours. So he was going to try and keep this one short. Steve Witkoff is next, and he says that we set up a technocratic all-Arab government in Palestine. If you didn't know, technocracy is not a good thing. He also said we made a lot of progress on Ukraine, and even the Ukrainians say so. Wasn't that war supposed to be over day one and also before he even got into office?
Yes.
Also the day after he was elected? I don't know. Next, Trump will say he asked Putin to stop bombing Ukraine for a week because it's very cold, and then says, direct quote, if you think it's cold over here, they say in Ukraine you can add another 20% to it. Whatever that means. Next up is Scott Bessent. He says Nicki Minaj is the greatest rapper in the world. You do what you will with that. He says...
Scott Bessent says Nicki Minaj is the greatest rapper in the world. I get all my rap lore from Scott Bessent. This guy. This is the guy I go to when I want to know details about the rap game. He's starting a half-hour freestyle show called The Bessent Bunch. We come in, he just lays down a beat he made, and it's all Nicki Minaj every day. That's the only guest he has booked. It's the best rapper in the world, according to Scott Bessent. I hope she posts that.
You can go to trumpaccount.gov to sign up for Trump accounts, and I tried to go to it. The website doesn't exist. And then he says we're bringing in tens of trillions of dollars in investments, so you can use that against him in his trials. Back to Trump. He says an excavator hasn't been built in this country in 50 years. Just so you know, Bob.
I know absolutely that's not true. I don't know if he means like every part manufactured in the United States, which isn't going to happen because they're pretty fucking advanced now, like the systems and the computers and the feedback loop. But we build excavators here.
builds excavators in North Dakota. Cobelco builds excavators in South Carolina. And
they kept saying TrumpAccount.gov. It's TrumpAccounts.gov. And it says we're building long-term financial security for millions of children by creating tax-advantaged investment accounts for U.S. citizens under the age of 18 coming in 2026. But it just says email me updates. It's not actually open yet. It says it's launching in July, maybe.
John Deere builds excavators in North Carolina. Trump will then say that each point that we lower interest is saving the people $500 billion. And then he says that there's no reason that our economy can't grow at 10%. There are plenty of reasons that it can't. And then he says, you can never be successful because when the economy does well, the stock market goes down. He says under him that there will be no inflation, but then says, quote, if inflation comes, we will take care of it when it comes. Next up is RFK Jr., me trying to understand him as best as I can. He mentioned Biden 3 times and Obama once, and he says that we have agreements with 16 of the 17 drug companies. I don't know what 17 drug companies those are. He says they're going to be releasing Trump.gov in the next 10 days. I did look it up. That website at least does actually exist. And then he says that every store that accepts EBT is going to have to double the amount of real food they sell, whatever that means.
What does that mean? Every store that accepts EBT is going to have to double the amount of food they sell. Like, I could understand, like, maybe gas stations accept EBT. Maybe they have to have more produce or something. But how are you going to go to a grocery store and tell them they have to double the amount of food they sell? Build a second store? I mean, it's all groceries.
And then says that Oz found hundreds of billions of dollars in Medicare and Medicaid fraud, and then said there are over 100 new studies that are going to be coming about autism. But I thought we had autism figured out.
It's crazy we found all this billions and billions and billions of dollars in fraud through all these different people, even though Doge was a complete fucking failure. But there hasn't been a single person charged in any of those cases. It's weird, huh?
In September, I thought the answer was Tylenol, but apparently not. We need 100 plus studies funded by you. Back to Trump, he says if pharmaceutical companies don't build their plants by the end of his term, that he's going to impose a 300% tariff on them. And then he reiterates that he wants people to buy houses, but he doesn't want the housing costs to go down at all because then people will lose value in their houses. And says multiple times through this that he wants housing prices to increase. He will reiterate that at least 3 times. Next up is Scott Turner. The only thing of import that he says is that we're going to save taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars by moving in.
Here's the good thing. Here's the good thing about the Trump accounts. The free part of the account is fine, right? If they want to put $1,000 or whatever into an account for a child that's born between now and next year or whatever, that's fine. You can already do this. You can already take $1,000, $5,000, whatever a year, put it in an account, put it in your kid's name until they're 18. The only good thing about it is maggots who never look forward to the future, right? Never think about their kids, never think about this. They just complain about immigrants. Maybe because Trump's name is stuck on it, his biggest supporters will actually go do this for their children. And they might have a college fund now just because it's got Trump's name on it. That's the only good thing about it. Like, you can go ahead and do this. Set up an investment account, put money in, tax defer it, give it to your kids. They can't have it till they're 18 or 26 or 45 or whatever you want to. Right? A lot of people do it with inheritances. You can already do this. The only good thing I can think of is some fucking redneck hillbilly piece of shit that just does everything with Trump's name on it. Like the Necessary Podcast, the Necessary Conversation podcast, that those parents, like people like that, might do it just because it's got Trump's name on it and put money into it just because it's a Trump thing, the same way they buy Trump branded merch, and at least their kid might be better off when they're 18.
Into a new building in Alexandria. Next up is Chris Wright. He will mention Biden 4 times. He says that clean, beautiful coal saved hundreds of lives during this cold snap. Does not explain how that is at all. And then he says we spent less on energy, but delivered massively more energy. No explanation of that. Back to Trump. He says clean, beautiful coal is not affected by...
It says that they're going to put in 1,000 for every American child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. So that'll be good for those kids, right? I think they did a projection on it, and it'd be like, I don't know, a few $1,000s when they turn 18. They use it for college or whatever. If you don't fall in that age range, I'm hoping that loyal Trump people that don't give a fuck about what their kids do once they turn 18, the type that just break their dinner plate and tell them to go find a job or whatever, that maybe they'll put money in it just for Trump's name, and those kids will be better off.
Cold weather, and then he will rant about windmills for a long time. He'll say windmills are all frozen and they're not turning. Windmills don't work. They're the most expensive form of energy. The EU is destroying themselves with windmills, and the EU is no longer recognizable. And then he will say that we don't.
I think they did a projection that if you max it out, you're allowed to put in $5,000 tax free. If you max it out, then your kid will be a millionaire when they're 28 if they don't touch it. But who can afford to do that with everything so expensive? And if you can't afford to do that, you could afford to do that without the Trump account, right? You could just be doing that. You could just be putting $5,000 a year back for each kid until they're 28 already.
Don't need an electrical grid. No explanation there. Trump will also bitch about the housing in LA for quite a while and say that since the fires, only 3 houses have been rebuilt. Then Lee Zeldin talks about the houses being built in LA, and he says that in order to get these permits through, what you need to do is you need to go into the permit building, flip over desks, fire.
Yeah, so they're saying the initial $1,000 will be projected to grow somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000. But if you max it out from the time, if they get the 1,000 and you max it out 5,000 every fucking time, then they could have $300,000 by the time they're 18. Which would be like $1 million by the time they're like 28 or 32 or something. If you take it on out and they don't touch it and they keep doing the $5,000. But again, you can do that already if you have $5,000.
People to buy houses, but he doesn't want the housing costs to go down at all because then people will lose value in their house.
Then how the fuck are people going to buy houses? He wants people to be able to buy houses, but he wants the house prices to stay high.
And says multiple times through this that he wants housing.
Yeah, I mean, it would pay for college, but that's, again, putting $5,000 per kid back every year. Who can afford to do that?
Prices to increase. He will reiterate.
And if they can, why aren't they already doing it?
At least 3 times. Next up is Scott Turner. The only thing of import that he says is that we're going to save taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars by moving into a new building in Alexandria. Next up is Chris Wright. He will mention Biden 4 times. He says that clean, beautiful coal saved hundreds of lives during this cold snap. Does not explain how that is at all. And then he says we spent less on energy, but delivered massively more energy. No explanation of that. Back to Trump. He says clean, beautiful coal is not affected by cold weather, and then he will rant about windmills for a long time. He'll say windmills are all frozen and they're not turning. Windmills don't work. They're the most expensive form of energy. The EU is destroying themselves with windmills, and the EU is no longer recognizable. And then he will say that we don't need an electrical grid.
We don't need a new electrical grid. We don't need it. Ours is fine. Just keep doing coal. So I've actually got the government's estimate here. So with no contribution, if you get an average low return, it'll turn into $2,500 by 18. A medium return will be $5,800 by 18, and a high return, which is like almost 20% return. If you bank on that, then it'll be worth $21,000. We're not getting an 18.5% return, okay? But if you max it out, hold on. If you do the midpoint, $2,500, then it could be worth every year from now to they're 18. On a low return, it'll be worth $95,000. On a medium return, it'll be worth $150,000. And on a high return, 18.5% return, it'll be $375,000. If you do max it out, $5,000 every year for your kid from the time they're born until they're 18, then it'll be on a low return, it'll be $100. I would bank on the low return side. That way you're just pleasantly surprised. It'd be worth $187,000. A mid return, which is 10% return. They're calling low return 5% return on investment and medium at 10%, but whatever. Medium return would be $300,000 and a high return will be $700,000. Nobody's getting a fucking 18.5% return year over year. That's insane, but whatever.
No explanation there. Trump will also bitch about the housing in LA for quite a while and say that since the fires, only 3 houses have been rebuilt. Then Lee Zeldin talks about the house.
They're talking about taking over the permitting department. I agree there's an issue with the permitting department, but obviously they've got issues in place because there's a fucking procedure they follow. Can we streamline that? We should, especially for people who lost their houses. But Trump just taking it over and approving everything? Get the fuck out of here.
Is being built in LA, and he says that in order to get these permits through, what you need to do is you need to go into the permit building, flip over desks, fire a bunch of people who work on permits, and then just get all of the permits done. I don't know how that would work. Back to Trump. He says that low-income housing is a, quote, horrible thing. He will also say that he won't allow low-income housing to be built in California, and then also that he knows more about low-income housing than anybody else. Next up is Kelly Loeffler. She'll mention Biden one time. She says,
I think there's about 1,000 homes in the affected area. So they lost about 13,000 homes. There's about 1,000 homes in the affected area under construction.
that we're going to make sure that low-income housing does not get built. And then she says that Trump ended 8 wars, including Biden's war on the middle class and Main Street. And then she says that there's been $18 trillion in investment, so you can use that in her trial. And then she says that, this is a direct quote, every Democrat voted against people.
And it's not just because of the permitting process. So the average permit takes 93 days. We could probably streamline that and get it 30 days or less. I get that. I'm not arguing that. It says slow permitting, averaging 93 days in some areas, faster in others. Insurance gaps, so like from the time the adjuster comes out and does this and you actually get money in your hand and blah, blah, blah. And high construction costs, people are deciding not to rebuild in that area. It's super expensive to build right now.
Grid. No explanation there. Trump will also bitch about the housing in LA for quite a while and say that since the fires, only 3 houses have been rebuilt. Then Lee Zeldin talks about the houses being built in LA, and he says that in order to get these permits through, what you need to do is you need to go into the permit building, flip over desks, fire a bunch of people who work on permits, and then just get all of the permits done. I don't know how that would work. Back to Trump. He says that low-income housing is a, quote, horrible thing. He will also say that he won't allow
So no low-income housing anywhere near any other housing. This is an issue that I have with people. Like, I fucking get it. But goddamn, when people are on the street and don't have housing and shit, and you're worried about your fucking HOA and the hit that you might take to your fucking value of your house because other people want to live, get fucked, dude.
Income housing to be built in California, and then also that he knows more about low income.
Maybe you shouldn't have invested everything you have into your fucking home and just bought a reasonable fucking home that if it fucking drops 10% in value, it's not going to fucking destroy your life. I don't fucking know.
Housing than anybody else. Next up is Kelly Loeffler. She'll mention Biden one time. She says that we're going to make sure that low-income housing does not get built. And then she says that Trump ended 8 wars.
Why can't we build low-income housing?
Including Biden's war on the middle class and Main Street. And then she says,
dude, you know what I think would kill right now? I don't know if it's possible. But I haven't done enough research. But if it's possible, wouldn't a fucking, you know who's behind the Abolish ICE movement right now? I'll show you. I think a company that would kill right now is a company that just goes around to areas and only builds starter homes as fast as they can fucking pump them out. Nice new homes, right? But they're at a price point that people in that area can't, there's no luxury to it because everything being built right now is like people fucking pushing like fucking marble over this and fucking tile over this. And I understand people want nice house when they buy them into, but goddamn, there's got to be somebody building fucking starter homes instead of fucking $1 million homes. Froggy Fresh. You guys remember Froggy Fresh from the fucking Tosh.0? He is on this huge push for banning HOAs. Let's see if I can find some of his things. Some of these HOAs are like fucking ridiculous. Like people losing their homes over fees and shit. I'm in Tennessee. Oh, here's a video on it.
People.
God damn, Facebook sucks.
To all the people saying that HOA problems don't matter, that they're first world problems, that they're rich people problems, that anybody who signed up for an HOA should have to deal with it because they knew what they were getting into.
It says, my aunt is currently having to sell her home she's lived in since 1994 because she didn't pay an annual $160 homeowner fee. They turned it over to collections, and they were demanding $12,400 for her to stop foreclosure. She lives off Social Security and has suffered many medical issues after having a stroke. I still can't believe that this has all happened to her.
I want you to read the comment that this lady left right here.
Krispy Kreme.
The end. Go ahead and pause the video and read it. I'm going to give you a second. Okay, if you've taken time to read this comment, now go ahead and let me know how you feel about this situation and if HOAs could possibly pose a danger to homeowners. So now, do you see why?
I don't think they should have as much power as they do, right?
They're trying to pass bills. Do you see why 80% of Florida?
I think he's in Florida, and this is in Florida.
Residents support them passing a bill that makes it easier for communities to dissolve HOAs, so elderly women aren't forced into situations where they have to sell their home to avoid foreclosure. How do you feel about that? To all the people.
He's made a few posts on it. I had a conversation with Representative Juan Perez today regarding HB 657. This is a bill that's sponsored which takes power away from HOA and gives it back to the homeowners. Juan is very interested in listening to homeowners and their struggles with HOAs and wants to give us more rights. This bill is not getting a lot of mainstream attention, and that's why word of mouth and sharing is important. I also urge anyone in Arden or Florida to write their local news and say they want to hear more about HB 657 and its sponsors, Juan Perez, on HOA reform, including the homeowners having the option to come together and dissolve their HOA if they wish. The lack of media coverage, considering how big a deal this is for Floridians, is shocking. It's time for homeowners to have a voice and more choices if they're in an HOA. If you're only catching this post, see my page for more detailed breakdown of what's happening. My family comes first. My own experience hasn't been publicly shared. Nearly half of Floridians live under an HOA. This isn't some niche issue. For millions of homeowners, HOAs control fines, fees, enforcement, access to records, board elections, and sometimes whether you can comfortably stay in the home you already paid for. If your question is, why don't people just live somewhere without an HOA? Because for many people, it isn't a real option in Florida. Non-HOA homes close to jobs, schools, medical care, and basic services aren't within their budget. New construction is overwhelmingly HOA controlled. Seniors on fixed incomes, working families, and people with kids are funneled into them because it's where housing is available and affordable relative to everything else. On the opposite end of the spectrum, a standard 3-bedroom homes close to jobs, schools that aren't in HOAs are often older houses in areas that come with big challenges. Many are in neighborhoods with higher crime rates, fewer resources, old infrastructure, or homes that need repair like roofs, plumbing, electrical, mold, etc. For families with kids and seniors on fixed incomes, taking on those risks or renovation costs isn't realistic or safe, even if the purchase price looks lower on paper. For seniors or disabled people, moving away from the doctors, family, or support systems isn't an option. For parents living far from schools or work, it isn't realistic. For a lot of people, an HOA community is the only path to home ownership here that doesn't completely uproot their lives. In Florida, unpaid fines and fees can escalate into liens and foreclosures risk and has led to actual foreclosures. That alone makes HB 657 worth supporting. Oh, yeah, I don't owe anyone coverage on the issues they think I should prioritize. The existence of a global crisis does not cancel out local harm in my experiences. This is a zero-sum game. I'm talking about something that affects my family, but also my neighbors and millions of Floridians right now. I'll repeat, my family is always going to come first, and I will use my platform to talk about BS that actually affects my family. Demanding that someone focuses only on your approved list of important topics is pretty authoritarian, ironically. If you get injured because a drunk driver hit you, don't talk about it because cancer and ALS exist. I support HB 657 so homeowners have the power to demand accountability and the choice to dissolve an HOA. And he's got his kids in it. He's still making music and shit too, but he's been talking a lot about HOAs. All right, back to the video.
He will also say that he won't allow low-income housing to be built in California, and then also that he knows more about low-income housing than anybody else. Next up is Kelly Loeffler. She'll mention Biden one time. She says that we're going to make sure that low-income housing does not get built, and then she says that Trump ended 8 wars, including Biden's
I bet you
war on
are.
middle class and Main Street.
I'm a little fucking jealous, to be honest with you.
And then she says that there's been $18 trillion in investment, so you can use that in her trial. And then she says that, this is a direct quote, every Democrat...
They're speaking a lot about trials.
Voted against people getting tax refunds, just in general.
Every Democrat voted against tax refunds. They know it's tax season. They know people don't understand what's going on. Every Democrat voted against tax refunds.
Next up is the drunk. He says that we need to reestablish deterrence because wars that are happening wouldn't have happened had Trump been president. And then also says that the mission in Venezuela to kidnap the leader of a sovereign country was the most sophisticated military expedition in all of history, just all of human history. Back to Trump, he says that Ilhan Omar is just a horrible person and says that Somalian pirates steal many.
She was attacked, by the way.
Ships, and what we're going to do is just blow them up. And then it finally ends with him asking, hey, JD, do you want to say anything? And JD says, nah, I'm just here for the free coffee. Speed run, no one came in for 8 months. Democrats say that 18 trillion times 3. Plants being built all over the country and will be open soon. Gas is $1.85, $1.99, $2.30 on average. He bitches about eggs for 5 minutes. Highest inflation in the history of our country. If they won, we wouldn't be a country anymore. Drugs are down 5, 6, 7, 800%. Numbers no one's ever even thought of. He made up the story about Macron, spent like 10 minutes on drug prices and calls Ozempic the fat drug. Anti-tariff people are pro-China, taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. That's your money. He'll announce a new Fed chair soon. China has very few wind farms. They are the #1 wind energy producer.
If we're this willing to just fucking pay tariffs, why didn't we just implement a cross-the-board tax and not fuck over all these businesses? It's the same thing, right?
And it's not even close. Allowing companies to build their own electric plants, can even do nuclear. California didn't allow water to come down. Bringing back battleships 100 times more powerful. Water drugs are down 97%. We're going to be bombing land soon. 300,000 people die of overdoses every year, and each boat that they blow up saves 25,000 American lives. Thanks for being here, Tim.
Jesus Christ. They're insane. By the way, we don't need those boats. Let's go to, what's his name? Alex Hollings, I think. We don't need these boats. In fact, it's the last boats we fucking need, but whatever.
The U.S. Navy has a big problem that analysts are talking about, but the media really isn't. And it's the reason why the new FFX frigate program just isn't actually what the Navy needs right now. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with the Navy's shipbuilding woes lately, America's Constellation-class frigate program, which was originally meant to field maybe 50 or more small but advanced surface combatant warships, was canceled last month after multiple design revisions and added capabilities caused production to go haywire and left the first ship of the class now delayed by around 3 years. So the Navy rushed to find a suitable replacement, and they believe that's what they've got in the significantly smaller but already proven Legend-class national security cutter that's already in service for the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, the plan was to take that design and revise it for Navy purposes so they could quickly make it into service, but it's in that rush to get this new design into service that the Navy seems to have forgotten what it was building these ships to do in the first place. Deterring, or failing that, winning a war with China isn't about the number of ships you can say you have on a spreadsheet. It's about the warfighting capability and capacity that those ships actually deliver. And this new cutter-turned-frigate doesn't deliver much. Not only does it lack the anti-submarine warfare capabilities that would have been organic to the now canceled Constellation class, but it also carries absolutely zero vertical launch system cells for missiles,
which is what they needed.
Interceptors, and that is a very big problem. One of the biggest reasons the Navy wanted new frigates in the first place was to help offset the loss of a huge portion of America's at-sea VLS cells, which really serve as the backbone of the Navy's forward deployed firepower. These cells house everything from land attack cruise missiles like the Tomahawk.
And he's naming it the Trump class. Almost across the board, it's always been named about deceased individuals or states or something. Calling it the Trump class is just so he can have his name on everything, right? The F-47 and the Trump class destroyer and the Trump Kennedy Center. It's so ridiculous.
To air and missile interceptors like the SM-2, SM-3, and SM-6. And to
even the Ronald Reagan and the Jimmy Carter and those ships were named after they left office or had passed away.
And the problem America is facing with these VLS cells, we are going to have to do a little math, but I promise to keep it easy. Right now, the entire U.S. Navy boasts 8,742 vertical launch system cells distributed across roughly 110 ships. And that's by my math, so the real numbers may vary a bit. Now, the ships that carry the most of these missile cells are its 7 remaining Ticonderoga-class cruisers, which carry 100 122 each for a total of 854 cells, and 4 Ohio-class guided missile submarines that boast 154 each for a total of 616 cells.
I like the state naming convention, right? The Iowa class or whatever.
As luck would have it, all of those ships are slated to retire by 2030. And that means that in just the next 4 years, the U.S. Navy will be losing about
We're building the wrong ships. We need these VLS missile cell capable ships. We're retiring a bunch of them and we're not building any new ones. This is what the Navy, after study after study after study, has found, that we need these types of ships, not the one Trump's building.
17% of its entire deployed arsenal.
I think the Secretary of the Navy makes the final call. So, I mean, Trump's going to have somebody that's going to say, yeah, that's the Trump class.
That's about 1,470 vertical launch system cells sailing into retirement. Now, the new FFX frigate carries no VLS cells whatsoever, unlike the Constellation.
0.
Had 32. But Navy officials say that it can carry Mark 70 payload delivery systems, which are containerized VLS cells produced by Lockheed Martin.
Look how much space those take up, right? They're loaded flat. Then we stand up. Look how much fucking space they take up when we could just stack goddamn 30 of them in there.
Now, each of these 40-foot containers holds 4 VLS cells, so one frigate might be able to carry, say, 3 containers for a total of 12 cells. At that rate, it would take more than 122 new frigates just to replace the VLS cells that
just to break even with the retiring ships. Just to break even with the retiring ships, you would need that 122 or whatever you just said.
Navy is losing by 2030, which I probably don't need to tell you is impossible. And if you think the Trump-class battleship will make up for that, you'd be wrong. Not only is the first Trump-class battleship now projected to potentially cost as much as $22 billion to build. That's about $10 billion more than an aircraft carrier, but it still is only slated to carry 128 VLS cells. So the Navy would need a dozen of them just to make up for what it's losing by 2030. And to be perfectly honest, that makes about as much financial sense as building frigates without VLS cells in the first place. Now, it is all but certain that subsequent flights of these frigates will be built with VLS cells, but if we're going to pay for those design revisions, why not do it before we start building the ships? The U.S. Navy has a big problem that analysts are talking about, but the media really isn't.
Of course they're not.
Did anyone else see how Omar was ready to throw hands with that dude who stepped up on her and sprayed some shit on her?
I wonder what he sprayed on her.
She stepped up.
There was a cop that was fired for saying, please, please, God, let it be bacon grease on his public Facebook profile.
Immediately. She was ready to fucking go. Did anyone else? I watched Trump's speech in Iowa today, so you don't have to, and here's my overview. He spoke for just under an hour. He mentioned Biden 16 times, Obama 4 times, Kamala Harris 3 times, and the fake news 7 times. He starts off by saying that he should run again in 2028, so I guess he's back to that, and then he says, direct quote, "We're not a joke, we're not being laughed at anymore." He, for some reason, says that he's bought a lot of John Deere equipment. I don't know why, because he's never owned or worked on a farm, but apparently he has, and then he asks if anyone in the crowd has a 401k, and I'm not kidding.
You guys remember when Scott Bessent tried to say he owned a fucking farm?
He
worked on a farm.
He had their hand up. Here's another direct quote. "I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich I don't even like." He's also never worked construction, so I don't get this one. He says that he loves excavators very much, but that none of them were ever made in our country. So I guess he loves excavators that are made in other countries. I also just looked it up. You know, Caterpillar, the brand that makes a bunch of excavators, well, they were founded in California in 1925. So for over 100 years, there have been American-made excavators. But
why vinegar? What the fuck?
Again, he says he loves the ones made in other countries. He brags about cutting hundreds of thousands of government jobs and says that those people hated him, but now they love him because they're working in the private sector and they're making 200 to 300% more. And then he says that what Democrats would do to lower unemployment, they would put 10 people in one job in the government and then say the unemployment was down. He says these two things happened because of regulations. He says that only someone from MIT could fix your car because he's never been a mechanic either. And then he says only someone with a PhD could start a tractor because he's never been a farmer. He says that a piece of his ear is missing, and then they start chanting USA for no reason. He says he cut the trade deficit by 77% last year. I looked it up. The trade deficit last year increased by $50 billion. He does admit that the price of beef is still high, but says that it's going to be coming down soon, and then says Joe Biden didn't care about farmers. All Joe Biden cared about was going to sleep. He said he's going to get E15 gas approved year.
He invests in a percentage of a soybean farm.
Now, it already is approved year-round in 8 different states, including Iowa, where he's speaking. And then he says, China will send me a bill supporting E15 year-round, and he will sign it without delay. Why is China sending him bills? Or does he think that he was supposed to say China when he was meant to actually say Congress? I honestly have no idea, but apparently China will be sending him a bill for E15 gas year-round that he's going to sign immediately. He says if he doesn't win midterms, then bad things are going to happen. No surprise there. And then he says he just has no idea why every time that a president is incumbent, they then lose the midterms. He just doesn't get it. He says we won't be supporting transgender for everyone, men and women's sports, and open borders. He will later say that Obama was a very divisive president, but during this point of the speech, while talking about the previous administration, he says, quote, we can never forget what that group of morons did to our country. I could have put this in the speed run, but he does say that the first time anyone heard the term affordability was a few months ago, and then also says that Democrats invented the word for elections. He keeps saying over and over again that your prices are way down, he's beat inflation, all of that, but then he says that during Biden's 4 years, you lost $34,000. I know that was a mistake. He meant to say $3,400, but what happens is he can't read, and so when they put something on the teleprompter, he just can't read it, so he says incorrect things. He says that rent is down. Please, someone show me where your rent has decreased without you changing the location where you live. He says middle income people just don't get deductions. I'm just going to let you.
Is anybody's rent down? I know a big percentage of you probably own your homes. Anybody's rent down? Your mortgage any cheaper?
He just can't read it, so he says incorrect thing. Show me where your rent has decreased without you changing the location where you live. He says middle income people just don't get deductions. I'm just going to let you know I'm a middle income person and I get deductions every single year. And then he brought up 2 women randomly who he's just like, they're going to get great things because of no tax on tips. And he says, quote, I refuse to say that they're beautiful, but they're beautiful. And then says, quote, they weren't supposed to come up, but I looked at them and said, come on up here. Both of them just came up. One of them said, no tax on tips is good and thank you very much. And the other one said, I just want to say the same thing and also thank you very much. I'm not like shortening that in any way. That is all that they said. He brought them on stage to say thank you to him. He will then just randomly start introducing his cabinet members who are there with him. And I'm confused about why he always has so many cabinet members with him for every single speech that he gives. He says
handlers.
Former Iowa Senator Brad Zahn endorsed him before he even knew he was running for president. He started running for president on June 16th, 2015. Brad Zahn endorsed him. You can look all of this up on October 15th of 2015. Now, I know no MAGA has made it this far for sure, but if there was one here, I would just kindly explain to them that on every single year, June happens before October. He wants more people to buy houses, but more importantly, he wants the people who have become rich because they bought houses a long time ago and just sat on it to not lose any of their wealth. So he says that even though he wants more people to buy houses, he will do nothing to reduce the price of housing. On that same note, though, he says that he will be announcing a new Fed chairman soon. He's been saying that for months. Here's a direct quote. There was a time you weren't allowed to use the term law and order. You weren't allowed to use the term Christmas. And then he says that he ran his whole first campaign on saving Christmas. Here's a direct quote. The southern border is closed and no one is coming in. And then I just put this in my notes because it was one of the funniest things I saw. There was a guy in the background taking pictures of the crowd, but he was doing it in selfie mode like this. I swear he was taking pictures blind, just of the crowd on his phone in selfie mode. And I especially know that's what he was doing because I could see the picture on his phone that he was blindly taking pictures of the crowd with. These MAGAs are just not the sharpest ones. That's all I'm going to say about that. He disparages Ilhan Omar and then says that Somalia doesn't exist as a country, and in fact, the only thing that they do that's good is pirating, and then also that he blows up their boats like he blows up the boats in the Caribbean. He says that crime in Minnesota is down because they took out thousands of illegal criminals. They also took out a soccer mom and an ICU nurse, but he doesn't mention that at all. And then he says that crime in NOLA is down 54% in just 3 weeks. He says that 2% of the population causes 90% of the crime. I looked everywhere to try and find this statistic, and I could not find anything resembling this statistic at all anywhere. He just, I guess, pulled that one out of his ass. And then he says that we have an armada floating towards Iran, not steaming, not powering towards Iran, just floating towards Iran. But he hopes that they'll make a deal soon so that I guess we don't have to get into another drawn-out war in the Middle East. Speedrun, 2020 was rigged times 4. Global warming is a scam. He won 86% of all counties because land can vote. The highest inflation in the history of our country. We were invaded by immigrants. Greatest recruitment in the history of our country. We forgot about World War II. 18 trillion times 2. A year ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest anywhere in the world times 4. Democrats switching candidates on him is unfair times 2. Made up EV mandate. Your drug prices are down. Made up that story about Macron. Everyone is a paid agitator. You know, because their signs are good. Also, they're insurrectionists. People against tariffs are pro-China. Emptied their jails and mental institutions from all over the world. Bitches about eggs. Gas is $1.99, $1.89. Jerome too late Powell, but also Jerome too early Powell. Water drugs are down 97%, but he doesn't know where the other 3% are. But those are the bravest people in the world. He's going to bomb land soon too. California was destroyed by Gavin Newsom. Venezuela on steroids. Iran was a month away from having nuclear weapons. Brags about kidnapping Maduro, and we're entering the golden age. So 10%ers.
Hell yeah.
Speaking so much is that he has now set a precedent with both of his
Hell yeah. Have you guys heard this? This is what I want to go to next. I like when he speed runs all the shit. I don't know where do we want to watch it from? I'm excited. This is 11 days. 11 days after her husband died.
All right, let's jump into the 3-minute leaked Erica Kirk call that was just released to the public by Candace Owens. Now, Candace Owens has been waging war against Turning Point USA, and as a part of this war, she released a call that took place 11 days after Charlie Kirk was publicly assassinated at Utah Valley University. This is when his wife, Erica Kirk, was transitioning into the CEO position of their organization, Turning Point USA. Now, watching the people around Charlie Kirk try to fill these roles, like watching Erica Kirk on stage, or watching his little henchmen try to go do these debates now, makes you realize in a weird roundabout way, Charlie Kirk actually was kind of...
I am a substance use therapist, and the amount they have cut towards mental health and substance abuse therapies, oh, I'm sure. And then they claim they want to clean up people off the street and fix homelessness and fix drugs and fix this, but it's not. It's just a fucking flex.
Of the glue holding it all together, because
they're taking care of the people at the top.
Erica Kirk is just
fuck everybody else.
Unimpressive. But in this call that took place 11 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Erica Kirk is talking about the merchandise sales that they saw at the memorial they held in Phoenix, Arizona. She uses the words, "It's all very exciting," which I found kind of weird. You know, I didn't even know if I wanted to make a full YouTube video about this call, but the more it went viral, the more it racked up 6 million views. Just one video has 6 million views, tens of millions of views across.
Somebody said the guy that attacked Ilhan Omar looks like he was genetically engineered to look like a guy who wants to assault Ilhan Omar.
The entire internet. I realized everybody deserves to hear this. So as Hotspot reports, Candace Owens released leaked audio from Turning Point USA in which Erica Kirk is heard giggling and cheerfully discussing attendance figures, merchandise sales, and performance metrics from Charlie Kirk's memorial just 11 days after his death. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and let's take a listen to this uninterrupted.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these.
Tell me if this sounds like somebody who lost their husband 11 days ago. Let's listen.
Memorial just 11 days after his death. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and let's take a listen to this uninterrupted.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these emoji Zoom things. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and a stadium overflow.
Now this starts off as a pretty normal staffing call, like, hey, good job everybody.
Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million? You guys that heard the gospel and all about Charlie and all about everything that you guys do, and the hard work of Turning Point USA is insane. We had thousands that were registered to vote. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to
merch sales, funeral merch sales,
to say a huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. Their incredible work of leading into the memorial. And honestly, a lot of the staff that worked on the memorial, they had 20-hour days for a week during the time of us grieving the loss of my husband. And honestly, I know several staff that didn't even sleep. Again, you guys are breathing angels, and I'm so grateful for all of you. And obviously a huge thank you to the Mosaic team. VI, you guys are 10 out of 10. Like, we have the most incredible team. We just do. And you guys know that, and you guys are all a part of that. And I am so, so thankful. And if you do have a moment and you run into any of those staff members that you know had a role in this, and that they put a lot of their time and effort into it, just say thank you. There's something really special to be seen in moments like this. And
you think she'd rather have her new position and money and donations or her husband back?
It's not easy. I'm speaking from experience. I'm right in the trenches with you guys. And so the fact that you just, a simple thank you. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships. And God puts people in your life for a reason, and it teaches you a lesson. It teaches them a lesson. So if you are going through a time where, just lay it to rest, and we are moving forward, Turning Point USA 2.0 with Charlie in our hearts, and that's what he would want.
I really want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section, because
Turning Point 2.0 with Charlie in our hearts, and that's what he would want.
Because there's a few moments where it's just a normal staffing call and she's saying thank you to the team, but there's also a weird few moments 11 days after his death, and now right-wing accounts on Twitter are freaking
oh no.
So libs of TikTok,
Erica Quirk,
this right-wing account that always makes fun of liberal or whatever.
They're mocking her for grieving after her husband was assassinated. Absolutely disgusting.
Posted, a drag queen named Erica Quirk is now mocking Erica Kirk grieving after her husband was assassinated. First of all, this call didn't really sound like grieving. So if Erica Quirk, the drag queen, is dancing around, that's not too far off from reality.
On the cross, our Savior said,
that may be one of the funniest drag names I've ever seen.
Stop. That's all. Just stop.
This is such a fire drag name. I almost liked the right-wing hate tweet because it's just so great. Now, another Charlie Kirk related own that just happened on Twitter, the Libertarian Party posted, if only he had followed his own advice. And this is
staying home saves lives.
Freddie, a photo he posted during COVID saying staying home saves lives. Just disgusting. Someone replied, for being a state Libertarian Party, you sure like to have Trump and the feds boots shoved down your throat. The Libertarian Party said, do you disagree that staying home would have saved his life? And then Sid on Twitter comes in with just...
I said the same thing to somebody in a Facebook comment. Charlie Kirk should just stayed home.
The Haymaker says
they didn't like it.
Agree that Charlie Kirk staying home would have saved his life, which is such an amazing own because the Libertarian Party, the party that generally argues for less government
libertarians, yeah, fucking right,
restrictions, more freedom, is now not only defending state executions of people who dissent, but is now also making the argument that you should stay home. Just don't leave your house. Cede all of the freedom you have. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment.
It should have never been people that try to live at Ruby Ridge or Waco either.
The 14th Amendment. Cede everything you have in order to stay home and stay maximally safe. Yeah, if Alex Preddy would have never left his house, there would have been a less chance of him dying, sure. If Charlie Kirk would have never ever left his house or gone to work or gone to Allen College campus, he would probably still be home. But this is America where we have freedom. The Libertarian Party arguing against that is effing wild. Here's the reality. A lot of these people, the Libertarian Party, the Charlie Erica Kirks, they're grifters. They're grifters who will stir up hatred against trans people and minorities, but then are all of a sudden shocked when that exact type of hatred then bounces back and hits them. There are some really good examples that you see pop up with a lot of minorities within the conservative movement. So people like Vivek Ramaswamy have been okay with peddling hate and bigotry and homophobia and racism for years, but the moment anti-Indian hatred begins to consume the Republican Party, all of a sudden Vivek Ramaswamy has a lot of moral clarity about how
hey, we can't do that.
Shapiro is very quiet when trans people are being attacked. In fact, Ben Shapiro will be the first one to lunge and make fun of a trans person. Then that translates into making fun of black people. Ben Shapiro isn't the most openly bigoted one, but he'll make fun of minorities. But the moment that turns around and Jewish people are then the subject of the joke, he gets very, very worried. We should just stop bigotry at the door before it enters the movement. You can't just stop it before it hits you. But time and time again, we see these conservative figures, even some black figures within the movements, who are like, wait a minute. I was okay making fun of gay people and making fun of Indian people or trans people, but I didn't realize we were this racist. Or a lot of Hispanic people. I mean, the unfortunate reality is a lot of Hispanics moved towards the conservative movement in droves this last election cycle. But the reality is they've moved back because they realize this party is not for them. So these conservative grifters,
they're losing their family members.
Use this type of hate.
Oh, have you guys seen the guy? The guy that found out about Trump. This guy.
Hey, Trump, it's not cool, man.
Okay.
Hey, Trump, it's not cool, man.
Okay, what happened?
No tax on overtime. I'm just now finding out that no tax on overtime is not no tax on overtime. There is tax on overtime.
Yep.
It's no tax on the half. So anything after 40 hours is time and a half. And you're still taxing the time, just not the half. And that's not how you made it out. That's not how you told us it was going to be.
Please continue, because I'm genuinely invested in your story.
You're doing that fine print manipulation and deceit. If you tell us no tax on overtime, that's what we expect. Don't turn into a regular, normal politician. That's why I voted for you, because I thought you weren't a politician. But that's a politician tactic, and I'm not happy.
Oh, it sounds like Timu Undertaker from the WWE is upset that his money is taking a hit. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't read past the headlines and don't read the fine print. And after the tragic murder of Alex Preddy today by immigration agents, I'm going full on into the FAFO when it comes to MAGA voters. And I'm on here to throw it right back into their faces, because at this point I genuinely don't give a fuck. We're seeing stories of people's lives getting taken away by immigration agents, as well as multiple human rights violations. And yet their voting base that voted for this genuinely don't give a fuck unless their money takes a hit, or if something finally personally affects them in some sort of way.
There's no tax on the premium portion of the pay that for overtime. So if you get paid time and a half, you still pay full taxes on the time. It's just the half, which would be the overtime premium.
I mean, there's one story about a man from San Diego, California. He voted for the current administration because of his tough stance on immigration. And then immigration agents picked up his wife at her immigration hearing because she overstayed her visa. And now he's complaining, thinking that she should be the exception. We have stories of like this guy finding out about the no tax on overtime. We have stories coming out from the state of Florida where Cubans voted for him and now their relatives are getting deported. You have folks coming on here that are genuinely shocked because they voted in favor of the guy that ran on tariffs, and now they're going through farming bankruptcies, a loss of trade deals that was pretty much their lifeline when it came to their farms. And I can name so many more issues that are affecting them for the very thing that they voted for. So if you like to see FAFO stories of these types, do consider giving me a follow, as I do dedicate a lot of my time outside of work to make you this type of entertainment. But going back to Timu Undertaker, in conclusion, all I do have to say to you is, have the day you voted for. Bye.
Bam. Got him. They're just now figuring it out. They could have read the bill at any point.
Very profitable.
Do we think Marco Rubio's doing a little coke?
To a great start and very profitable visit. Hope to debrief in it soon, if I might.
Get that jaw working, baby.
If we were to pick an MVP of the West Wing, Secretary Rubio, my vote to a great start and very profitable visit. Hope to debrief in it.
Atsuko thinks Rubio's on cocaine, and that's why she can't come back to the United States. CIA, NSA, Department of War, Freemasons exposed. Let's dive into it.
Hello, today we're going to talk about a very
Damn, she's got a set of jubblies on her, don't she?
uncomfortable subject.
I was distracted, sorry.
Targets, and that is electronically induced rape. So a lot of us experience this.
What?
And that is electronically induced rape. So
okay.
A lot of us experience this, male and female. It's not just males, but in my experience, there are 3 different types, and I'm sure there's probably other people who have other experiences. I've talked to several female TIs, but so these seem to be the common 3. And the first is physical.
TIs, targeted individuals. They think the government's stalking them and raping them electronically.
So whatever kind of frequency-induced, drug-induced, it's very common to hear that several of us, and it's happened to me personally, we have no control over our coherence, our motor skills. We wake up and we have unexplained injuries on us. We feel like that, we've had sex and we know that we haven't. Many of us have been alone for a very long time and for very good reason, especially with this particular type of targeted trafficking. Which
is she having wet dreams?
That's pretty much what it is. Most of the time it is a partner, romantic partner.
I would pay good money for this, to be honest with you.
Husband that is not actually your husband, your contract. That is romantic partner, even a husband that is not actually your husband, your contract. It is a partner, romantic partner, even a husband. That's pretty much what it is. Most of the time it is a partner, romantic partner, even a husband that is not actually your husband, your contract.
This is what I convinced them when I joined their group, that they switched out my wife for a CIA agent.
That is involved in trafficking you in this way. The second kind is where the W band that they have put into your body, somebody is using those signals and radio frequency signals to cause an extreme amount of pain. Luckily, I was able to have mine documented. It was documented as severe electrocution, but what that basically feels like is if you were to take a live electrical cord and it being put
She's into something freaky if she got electrocuted.
Up inside of you. It is excruciating pain.
On the inside of your vagine? A live electrical wire was put up inside of her.
As far as I can tell, and from what other reports and other guys have given, is that it is a very sadistic form of entertainment that is being done. Fortunately, as of right now, knock on wood, I don't really get that one very much because I figured out that if you refuse to scream, you're not fun anymore.
Knock on wood. She didn't even think about that one, did she?
And that is not an easy task. The other thing that happens too is that with that extreme amount of heat and burning and electrical, is it feels like someone has a pen, like an actual laser pen, and is scribbling around on your insides. And it is absolute unfathomable.
She said it feels like someone has a pen, a laser pen. You think laser light, but with a laser pen, they're scribbling. That goes back to pen. So is it a laser or a pen? Because I couldn't imagine a laser scribbling.
Torture. So that happens, and a lot of you guys can, attest to that. It's anally and vaginally, and I've heard, testicular, all that kind of stuff. It's generally
both doors, she said.
All that area. And the third kind is where you are stuck in bed generally, and what happens is you have an involuntary induced orgasm. I'm not talking about like your wet dreams at 14. I'm talking about you can feel pulse frequency being used to force you into having an orgasm.
I would pay for that. I would pay for that. I'd have antennas set up, microphones and speakers. I'd be ready to go.
To force you into having an orgasm. Out of all of it, that is the most mild, I guess. It's still unwanted. It's still atrocious, but, I guess you had to pick an evil. So I just wanted to discuss this today because, whoever had control of my remote control, you need to do a better job because you have satellites, quantum computers, an entire civilian shithead stalking army.
And you still didn't finish? Get the fuck out of here, lady.
As you have a W-band system, you have all of these cool toys, and you still couldn't find a spot.
Getting attacked by contractors working for the NSA. They broadcast things into my head like, does your chest hurt now, Andy? Does your chest hurt now, Andy? As I can feel the pains in my chest. Okay, once again, they claim to be working for the NSA.
No, I understand.
It's not a list I'm looking at, man.
No, I understand.
We don't operate off lists.
Good to know.
Unless there's like a specific target for whatever, but
a target?
Like it's a warrant list.
Like a targeted individual or what?
If it's a warrant list or something like that.
Okay.
I would be looking at.
Not like a government blacklist, right? Like, no, that shit don't exist, does it?
Things that, may even just irritate me at some moment.
It seems like that's what this channel does.
All
right, this one's crazy. What if I told you that there's an American company illegally selling their technology to Russia
Ubiquity.
for their military to use in the war against Ukraine?
Ubiquity makes a bunch of wireless access points and systems, and they're a pretty good company, honestly.
That's the bombshell report just released by Hunter Brook, alleging that Ubiquity, a $30 billion company led by Robert Pera, the owner of the NBA's Memphis Grizzlies, is, to put it bluntly, directly assisting the Russian war effort. So today we're joined by Sam Koppelman of Hunter Brook. He explains how his team...
Which makes sense. They would pay a shit ton for this because everybody else is blocking them out, right? They need something to have networks.
Undercover, pretending to be buying this equipment for the Russian military, and how a U.S. company offered to help them bypass current sanctions.
Yeah, we can ship to Moscow too, no problem.
There's a quick 5-minute video from Hunter Brook that I'll link below that serves as a great summary for this incredible story. You'll also find in the description a link to Hunter Brook's original story, their newsletter, and YouTube channel. And with
Preston Stewart covered it. If you want to see the interview, I want to see the summary video.
Crazy story. Russia's war in Ukraine relies on a huge American company whose CEO is the owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. And our reporting indicates that this company's gear has
Aren't there supposed to be people looking out for this?
enabled crimes against humanity. Why do these Russian soldiers love the tech from the American company, Ubiquity?
So in other ways, like they're using Starlink, the way they're using Starlink is it's basically not locked out of Russia. They just don't sell them in Russia. So what they're doing is they're buying them in the Middle East, setting them up in the Middle East, getting an account set up in the Middle East, and just sending them to Russia.
Нет связи, нет фронта. Старая военная мудрость актуальна, как никогда. It's actually simple, though it might not be legal. Ubiquity's networking equipment is cheap, effective, and suspiciously available right on the front lines of the battlefield. It's part of Ubiquity's unique and highly successful business model. High quality, easily...
We should be working with Ukraine to figure out these companies that are bypassing. especially American companies that are bypassing this embargo. What are you finding on the battlefield? What are you finding when you take over a position, right? When you find equipment, what are you finding? And we should be prosecuting these companies.
Accessible gear at affordable prices. It's a model that made its CEO a fortune so large that he became the youngest owner in the history of the NBA. That same model has led to what we believe is tens of thousands of Ubiquiti devices ending up in Russia since the start of the war in Ukraine. Our sources on this range from troops on the front lines to open source intelligence to conversations directly with Ubiquiti suppliers. As Russian forces continue their assault on Ukraine, Ubiquiti's devices serve Russian combat troops critical networking needs, including potentially enabling precision kamikaze drone attacks against Ukraine civilians.
То есть, например, расчет FPV, он не может работать без аэророзведки, потому что это будет полет, но
Without this network, they'd be flying blind.
The UN has called some of these attacks crimes against humanity. And critically, sources told us that there are no viable alternatives to Ubiquiti.
По вашим предположениям.
So imagine the premium they're paying to get it shipped there illegally, and that's why they've set their whole system up on, so they can just keep jacking up the price. Tens of thousands, they have no alternative.
Starlink devices are remotely shut off in Russia. Ubiquiti products apparently work just fine. They're plug and play. We actually tested how easily Russians can obtain Ubiquiti devices by contacting a bunch of their suppliers and asking them to send equipment to the front lines of the war. We spoke to nearly a dozen vendors in Russia, including some who claimed to be official Ubiquiti suppliers. Not only did they promise to get us the Ubiquiti gear in as short as a week, but they actually sent us thank you letters that they said were sent to them by the Russian military. The war in Ukraine is also heavily crowdfunded, so we looked on Telegram and found lots of social media posts from Russian troops thanking people, asking them for Ubiquiti devices to use. This wasn't supposed.
They shouldn't be asking for Ubiquiti devices, right? That network should be fucking locked in Russia right now.
To happen. After Russia invaded Ukraine, the U.S. enacted sanctions and export bans with the purpose of blocking Russian access to tools like these. But Ubiquiti relies almost exclusively on hundreds of third-party distributors for sales, rather than its own sales force. And Hunterbrook found that these third-party distributors have been supplying millions of dollars worth of prohibited Ubiquiti goods to Russia, likely in violation of U.S. export and sanctions laws, often through third countries like Turkey or Kazakhstan, with the goal of obscuring these trade routes. One Ubiquiti official distributor in Ohio, Multilink Solutions, initially agreed to sell 450 Ubiquiti items to a Hunterbrook reporter.
In Ohio. Can you deliver to Russia fast?
Posing as a Russian customer seeking shipment to Moscow or Crimea.
Yeah, we can ship to Moscow too, no problem.
The leader said they couldn't ship to Russia directly.
My shipping team notified me we're unable to ship to Russia since there's restriction on the products to be sold. Unfortunately, we are unable to complete this request.
Russia directly, but promptly sent an invoice for a shipment to Turkey, a well-known route.
But sent an $80,000 invoice for Turkey.
For sanctions evasion. A former Ubiquiti product distribution employee told Hunterbrook about the company's slipshod compliance procedures. Ubiquiti itself openly says it doesn't have visibility over all its distributors or their activities. But claiming ignorance is not enough, according to the legal experts we spoke to for this story.
Assuming that the company is aware and is not doing anything about it, that would be considered likely a failure to adhere to appropriate U.S. export controls.
It's hard to know the extent to which company leadership is aware, but with relative ease, our team at Hunterbrook was able to find publicly available trade data showing Ubiquiti distributors sending millions worth of equipment directly to Russia. It's hard to imagine a $34 billion company couldn't do the same if it wanted to track where its products were ending up. And this isn't the first time Ubiquiti products ended up where they weren't supposed to. More than 10 years ago, Ubiquiti was fined for its, quote, reckless disregard by the U.S. government. That was after Ubiquiti's products showed up in Iran. At the time, Ubiquiti just faced a $500,000 slap on the wrist. It was the first offense, and its CEO promised to shape up. It can't happen again, Robert Paris said in an interview. If it does, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Well, it happened again. And this
it's happening.
It looks much bigger.
Currently.
The question is, what will the government do about it? Read the full story at hunterbrook.com/Ubiquiti. And don't tune this out because the war started years ago. People are still dying every day.
All right, so if you want to see a more in-depth interview, that's what Preston Stewart has over on his channel, where he interviews one of the people that covered it, Sam Koppelman, who runs through the bombshell report for the Hunterbrook, alleging that the U.S. company Ubiquiti is knowingly bypassing U.S. sanctions to provide dual-use technology to the Russian military for use in their war in Ukraine. Please see the full investigation. This is what we should have being investigated, right? Not food stamps. Jesus fucking Christ. But no, we're here. We're doing it now. Of course. Fucking retards, dude. Insane. Oh, there's the post I was looking for earlier. It says, I'm voting for Trump because he's going to make housing affordable for young people. Trump, I want housing prices to go higher so the lazy kids can't afford them. Good job, morons.
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't
going up, buy
a home. We're going to get.
We're not going to destroy their values. So some of it isn't. When they say and some of it didn't work very hard, who are they talking about? Young people and immigrants. That's exactly who he's talking about. 100%.
That didn't work very hard can buy a home. We're going to make it easier to buy. We're going to get interest rates down. But I want to protect the people that for the first time in their lives feel good about themselves. They feel like that they're wealthy people. And I want them to understand it. There's so much talk about, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up for people that own their homes. And they can be assured that's what's going to happen. Existing housing, people that own their homes.
And what's crazy is the vast majority of like poorer, lower income people voted for him, especially in these like fucking Tennessee where I live. Goddamn, everybody's poor as fuck and complaining about it and the bills and the groceries and this. But then anything comes up and they're like, that's my president. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It just is.
I know you voted to increase ICE funding, so I wanted to get something for you. This is an adult diaper for when you pee yourself in front of Donald Trump. You're the type of leader we need right now, someone who soils themselves with ashes around our door.
I just would like to say really quick, as a Jewish man, I have never felt safer than when there is a masked Gestapo in the street. Thank you, Congressman Tom Suozzi, for funding.
By the way, we do have some right-wing people getting on our side saying ICE is too far. We need to get this figured out. This is ridiculous. They're killing people.
I think the only...
The momentum's changing. Again, if Obama could do it without fucking rolling tanks down the street and fucking executing U.S. citizens, they can do it too.
Way I can fight anti-Semitism is by aligning ourselves with white supremacists. I just
Somebody explain that to Bort.
want to reiterate, nobody could have predicted that ICE would have been killing innocent people.
I'm going to read the names of the 9 people that were killed by ICE this month.
Walter Masterson.
People killed by ICE. You're going to touch me? You're going to touch me? Alex Preddy, Renee Good, Keith Porter, Parody Law. These people were killed by ICE this month. 9 people were killed by ICE this month. And you're throwing me out while I'm reading their names? You are funding our occupation.
You made a mistake. Tell Alex Preddy you made a mistake.
Get out of here. 9 people were killed by ICE this month. 3 of them were gunned down. 6 of them died while in ICE custody. We are funding our
9 people this month.
own occupation.
This was where a senator was speaking. I guess there's a lot of Jewish people there.
Yeah. We're on the wrong side of history. And it's time to go back. I know you voted to increase ICE funding, so I wanted to get something for you. This is an adult diaper.
Sometimes you want to make them fucking speak for what they're doing. Did you guys see someone tried to break out Luigi Mangione? Out of prison by impersonating an FBI agent.
But first, let's begin with that breaking news. According to court filings and law enforcement sources, a man attempted to impersonate an FBI agent last night in order to release Luigi Mangione. Let's bring in CBS News legal.
People are just hopping on saying, yeah, this is Agent Smith. We need Mangione released immediately. We're transferring him to his home.
Reporter Katrina Coughlin, who's following that story for us. Katrina, this sounds just bizarre. What have you learned?
So we've learned that this man, Mark Anderson, he's a 36-year-old from Minnesota, went to the Metropolitan Detention Center. That is where Luigi Mangione is being held. It is also where Maduro is being held, among other people. But what he told them is that he had a court order from a judge to release Luigi Mangione. He also said, When confronted, he gave them his Minnesota driver's license, but he purported himself to be a member of the FBI. He told them that he had weapons in his bag, but as you mentioned, it turned out he had this barbecue fork and then a pizza cutter. Now, federal law enforcement sources have told CBS News that Anderson
I don't know. I haven't done enough research to talk about what the FBI is doing in Georgia or whatever. And they just recently, without notice, without anything, fired the agent in charge of the Atlanta field office. And then they apparently moved in with a warrant from Missouri to raid a place in Georgia that has to do with fucking it's all weird. I haven't read enough on it, but we'll figure out what's going on eventually.
Had traveled to New York for a job opportunity, that job opportunity didn't work out, and he had been working in a pizzeria here. He is being charged with impersonating a FBI officer.
I did see a picture of Tulsi Gabbard in with all the evidence by herself in there.
So
I don't trust nothing coming out of this administration.
Still learning more details about all of this, but it is a very strange story. Luigi Mangione is also set to be back in court tomorrow for his federal case, so it's very timely that he.
That's crazy, dude. That is brazen to go in and be like, yeah, this is FBI. We need Luigi Mangione
to get him out ahead of that hearing.
Imagine if it would have worked.
So much.
Imagine if it would have worked.
Let's get right to our MS Now team. Josh Einiger on the ground in Fulton County. Also with us, political contributor Greg Bluestein of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, who was at the Fulton County facility while the FBI was on scene. And also joining us, national security analyst and former FBI special agent Michael Feinberg. Josh, the county commissioner says the FBI took pallets of ballots. So what exactly did the FBI take? Because this was an extremely broad search warrant.
It was a very broad search warrant, Anna, and it really had to do with all available ballots from the 2020 election. Notably, they did not leave an inventory list, which is typically the case. So exactly what was taken has not been made public just yet, but pallets of ballots, as you say, according to that source. We are waiting for county officials, as you say, any minute now to address what happened here, and perhaps we'll get more information from them. But let's take a step back for a second. These ballots were only here because of what has been described by a source.
There's like a picture of them taking the ballots. They're blowing all over the place. They're losing them. It's fucking insane.
County this morning as a gadfly lawsuit that was underway and has been underway now for years from someone who still believes in the now discredited theories of election fraud here in Fulton County in 2020. A judge had ordered these ballots, which ordinarily under statute would have been destroyed after 22 months, be held in the building behind me. And so that was why they were here in the first place. And then yesterday, of course, a U.S. attorney in Missouri filed a search warrant. The FBI came here and executed that warrant to take all that.
Why a warrant out of Missouri for going into Georgia? That's so weird.
And they were here for hours taking those pallets away. A little while ago, we spoke with Jeff Duncan, who was the Republican lieutenant governor here in Georgia back in 2020. He's now a Democrat and running for governor. Here's his take on what happened here last night.
There's no fact pattern that shows that this is about facts throughout the entire almost 6 years now. This is about political vengeance. This is about trying to prove a narrative that's not true. And quite honestly, I mean, they should have moved on. This isn't about what's good for the country. This is about what's doing good for Donald Trump.
A lot of fears among Fulton County.
They've literally beat this horse to death. And then you continue to beat it and 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 beat it.
This morning that all of this is an attempt to sow.
I don't know that they shopped around. I think they already knew, like, hey, this is probably our best chance with this judge.
Seeds of discontent and seeds of really make people question future election results here in 2020.
Maybe planted a bug in his ear saying, we'll be by there to get this, warrant we've been discussing at those fundraiser dinners or some shit.
2028. Of course, we are waiting, as you point out, Anna, for Fulton County officials, the county, the head of the Board of Elections here, to address the press just in the next couple of minutes about perhaps more information about what was taken yesterday. Anna.
Josh Einiger, thank you for that. Keep us posted as you get more information. And of course, we'll be standing by for that press conference with the county officials. Michael, one of the people who's going to be giving this briefing is Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Hitz. And about these ballots that were taken, he says, we don't know where they're being taken. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Again, pallets of ballots. How do we make sure these ballots aren't altered?
So normally there is a very strict chain of custody when the FBI seizes.
So they had like a Fulton County Commissioner showed up to speak to residents, and they had residents demanding, like, where the fuck is our information going? What is going on? What the fuck happened?
Pursuant to a search warrant, and that chain of custody needs to be offered up
at a town hall. That's what I was thinking.
The evidence is used, and that should list everybody who at any point had the evidence. Now, this is really going to get interesting.
There's no chain of custody, it doesn't seem.
And I don't want to jump on something you're probably going to cover in a minute, but there was a pretty notable non-law enforcement personnel person there who
Who?
With evidence for some time, it appears, based on a photograph we've seen. And I don't know what's going to happen if they try and call her to testify, because she, by dint of her position, should have nothing to do with law enforcement operations whatsoever.
You're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, who showed up on scene?
Yes, and based on that photo, at one point she was in a truck with box loads of what are apparently ballots, which means if she was alone, she is going to need to be on the chain of custody for those ballots and explain to defense counsel why she was with them and what she was doing. And if there was a special agent in there with her, that special agent is going to be on the chain of custody and is probably going to get asked by defense counsel why on earth somebody was allowed to be with that evidence who is not a member of the FBI nor on the chain of custody.
So, Michael, let me interrupt you for just a second, and I'll ask you to continue, but we just literally got some information about why Tulsi Gabbard was there. This is per a Trump administration official. Director Gabbard has a pivotal role in election security and protecting the integrity of our elections against interference, including operations targeting voting systems, databases, and election infrastructure. She has and will continue to take action on President Trump's directive to secure our elections and work with our interagency partners to do.
The director of national intelligence is now doing fucking ballot counts.
What do you make of that explanation?
Not a very good one.
Doesn't pass the laugh test for anybody who's actually worked in this world. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, this was collection of evidence. There is nothing there that cannot be reported to Tulsi Gabbard once they have processed it, analyzed it, and finished doing whatever they were doing on site. Again, it is unheard of for non-law enforcement personnel to take place in the execution of a search warrant. Secondly, this is a criminal investigation. It is looking at past conduct. Even if we believe...
Remember, Trump told them it's just 11,000 ballots. Find them. Find them.
Tulsi Gabbard should be involved in law enforcement actions relating to the security of our elections. That is only something...
There shouldn't have been any high-profile person here doing this. Right? Have the press conference, roll out any high person you want afterwards. There shouldn't have been any. There should have just been agents.
You would be doing if there was something happening presently or in the future. It is inexplicable that there was why she was there. There is literally no legitimate reason that she should have been on site.
So, Greg, there's now the DOJ, the DNI, the FBI all apparently involved in this. It's a massive escalation in the president's persistent and disproven election fraud claims. How did we get here? And I know you were on scene. What stood out to you?
Yeah, how we got here is, frankly, local officials have been expecting this, dreading this for a year now. There were rumors that this could be happening a year ago, and when President Trump spoke at Davos saying essentially that some people could soon be punished for their roles in the 2020 elections, Fulton County officials went into sort of hyper overdrive, being vigilant about this potential possibility. They were still surprised when it happened so soon. It happened yesterday. We reached out to local officials as it was happening, who said we don't know what's going on. We have no idea what they're taking, what they're looking for. There was some confusion about the warrant that needed to be broadened after it was filed incorrectly at first. But what we have now are a number of mysteries, including the Tulsi Gabbard question, which we just tackled. But also what happens next. And a lot of local officials are worried that this will end up kind of triggering a Georgia law that passed after the 2020 election that could allow the state to have more authority in Fulton County elections. Fulton County is Georgia's most populous county. It's also one of the bluest counties in Georgia. It has had a history of election issues for decades of slow reporting of results, those sort of things. But local officials have really worked to revamp the system, and even state officials a few years ago.
It's the most populous county there. Of course, it's got slow reporting of results.
And now there's a possibility, a really distinct possibility, that the state could now take more control over Fulton County elections ahead of the midterm.
So, Michael, I'm thinking that a judge had to sign off on the search warrants, right? Does that give this investigation any more legitimacy?
Yes and no. Obviously, the fact that the government presented a theory of criminal action and a plan to an independent judge who is not part of the executive branch, obviously, should give us a little comfort. What worries me is that there is something within Fourth Amendment jurisprudence called the plain view doctrine, which means that if you are searching for evidence of crime X, but inadvertently in the course of that, without trying, come across evidence of crime Y, you're allowed to use that evidence for crime Y's investigation and prosecution. Normally, you would not be able to take evidence for something unrelated to the specific search warrant. And I really do worry that this administration, which has repeatedly shown disdain for the separation of criminal investigations from political policies, used a small, legitimate misdemeanor charge, which is what is on the warrant, as an effort to get into what is essentially an archival facility for 2020 ballots, and then in going meticulously through them, pursuant to that misdemeanor investigation, is going to say, oh, while we were there, we found all this other stuff. And they're going to have it now, and they're going to use it or alter it to forward paranoid conspiracies about what happened in Georgia in 2020.
I don't know. They're cooking up something, of course, and they'll try to have a news conference about it before we get to midterms to try to save face. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show due to Just Quick Tools, leave a message with your donation. There's multiple ways to donate there, and leave a message so I can read it live on air. And thank you for it. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's fucking cold here and getting colder. It's supposed to be stupid cold tomorrow and maybe more snow in the forecast. I'll keep you updated. I should be here basically every night, hanging out, talking shit, whatever. But if I'm not going to be, I'll try to update you by at least 10 p.m. maybe. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show,
You don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me oh my God. Damn it.
Yeah, it was so the crime listed on the search warrant was the preservation of federal election records.
The best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set.
Yeah, thank you for all the dislikes over on. They don't know that dislikes and likes count the same on social media, but we appreciate it.
Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network.
Have a good night, guys.
Research, they rework and copy.